Who else could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Lockdown Coverage, week number 7 in the National Football League. New Orleans Saints on the road taking on Go Pack Go! Go Pack Go! The Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers for the first time this season, starting a game. And what would the Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers look like, you ask? And for most of you, you knew. You know, I was one of the few people that thought a week of game planning and them getting Brett Hundley ready to go against a Saints defense that's improving by the weeks vastly. But still, it's a defense that can be taken advantage of. I felt like he could go in, have a good week of practice. They could implement a game plan and that will give him an opportunity to succeed and get a win at home and maybe give him a little bit of confidence. I was wrong. He was horrible in this game. I'm not giving up on Brett Hundley's ability to lead this Packers team to a competitive season and hold off all the teams in the division until Aaron Rodgers comes back. Because, yes, I do believe Rodgers will be back before this season is done. I think Aaron Rodgers will make a miraculous return week 16 or so. And if they are somewhere like Matt Flynn did once upon a time, if they are just around, in and around this division, they'll have a shot. But if they play like this, moving forward offensively, they won't have a chance. And Aaron Rodgers' return will be in vain because this team will not win a ton of games playing offense the way that they did in this game. But we'll get to all of that. And I don't want to make this about the Packers because the Saints, yes, the New Orleans Saints, the same Saints that couldn't stop a nosebleed defensively the last 5 years, those Saints have now won 4 straight games, and don't look now, they're now your new leaders in the clubhouse in the NFC South Division. Yes, the Saints, the same Saints that started the season 0-2, that looked like they were going to be a disaster this year. Everyone's asking, is this the last year of Drew Brees and Sean Payton in New Orleans? Who's asking that right now? This team has won 4 straight games. Yes, those Saints. Yeah, we're going to talk about them too in this breakdown for sure as they get the win on the road 26-17 over the Green Bay Packers. Anyway, of course, I'm your man, Louie T. Thank you for joining me here on the program. If you haven't already subscribed to the Louie T Network, what are you waiting on? Seriously, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content in 2017 and beyond. We're changing the game over here. I want you to help us do that by simply hitting the subscribe button and becoming a member of the Louie T Network. I've got a number of social media platforms. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Of course, I'm on YouTube. All of the links to those social media platforms are down in the description. So if you want to stay in tuned and linked up to what's going on here on the Louie T Network, that's the best way to do so through those social media platforms. They're down in the description, along with a way to donate to this channel. And there are multiple ways. Both of them are on the screen in front of you, one through Patreon, the other through PayPal. Both of those links that you see before you are also down in the description. So if you're looking to donate and try to help this channel along, and we're trying to further our growth here on the Louie T Network, and the most effective and efficient way to do that is through you, the viewers. And I thank you in advance for any contributions that you may give. And I thank those already who have given. And if you can't give, all I ask is that you simply continue to support this channel the way that you always have by liking, watching, and sharing these videos here on the Louie T Network. Spread the word. Spread the word like wildfire. We're trying to grow over here, and it's because of viewers like you that we're able to do so. That being said, let's jump into this breakdown because I didn't expect the Saints to go on the road and win this game. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought the Saints have been impressive these last 3 weeks. The competition hasn't always been the stiffest, but that doesn't matter. You can only beat who they put in front of you. And the last 3 weeks, the Saints have beat 3 teams that were put in front of them and in short order. Destroyed the Lions last week before allowing them to come back and make it a competitive football game. Nonetheless, that was an out-and-out ass whooping at one point, 45-10. They go to Carolina some month ago and put a whooping on them in Carolina before the Panthers started to turn things around and now are on another downslide. And so this is a Saints team that, after the slow start of 0-2, 4 straight wins, including this win versus the Packers. This was impressive because it didn't start well for them. You got 2 Drew Brees interceptions early in this ball game, 1 in the end zone, 1 down by the end zone. So you're thinking, man, Drew Brees tripping in this game. Is this going to be one of those 3-4 interception games where he throws us out of a game and we lose a game that we should win? That's what it looked like early. But then Sean Payton realized, look, I don't need Drew to win us this game. He didn't have to do that today. He didn't have to do that. They got essentially a rookie quarterback. And I know he's been in the league 3 years, but this man has never started an NFL game. He's wet behind the ears, breath smelling like Similac. This young man is a baby. We don't need to have Drew Brees throw for 335 and 4 scores to win this game in a shootout versus Matt Stafford like you did last week. No. Give the ball to Mark Ingram. And I heard somebody in one of the pregame shows say, the best thing that has happened to Mark Ingram is the Saints signing Adrian Peterson in the offseason. It made him a much more determined football player. That's garbage. You want to know what really made him a better football player? The Saints trading away Adrian Peterson, because now this man is getting the adequate touches that he deserves, because you already know Alvin Kamara is getting his touches. You best believe Sean Payton's pet is getting his touches. So that left the splits for Adrian Peterson and Mark Ingram to share whatever was left, whatever table scraps was left from Alvin Kamara. That was what they were going to get. Now, whatever Kamara doesn't get, all goes to Ingram, and rightfully so. He's been running like a man on a mission this year, and he lit up the Packers in this game. He was outstanding, broke tackles, had a huge 4th-and-1 run for a touchdown. I thought he was tremendous. At a time where Brees was struggling and needed somebody to pick him up, I thought Ingram was that guy. You want me to also tell you who was outstanding in this game? And a guy, when you signed him, I said, Teddy Ballgame is balling, okay? I bet you right now the Carolina Panthers regret letting Teddy Ballgame walk. They could sure use Teddy Ballgame right now. Ted Ginn Jr. has been outstanding. He was phenomenal in this game. He was a one-man wrecking crew at the receiver position at one point. 7 catches, a $140, and a touch for Ted Ginn. Well, I don't think he scored a touchdown in this game, but 740 for Ted Ginn? Where he do that at? Ted Ginn was phenomenal in this game. Ingram was outstanding in this game. The defense, let's get to the defense, because for as good as the offense was at times, they were also bad, and the defense had to pick them up. And after a slow start, in which they allowed Aaron Jones to run off about a 45, 50-yard touchdown run, and they allowed Brett Hundley himself to get in the end zone in the first half, this defense clamped down on the Green Bay Packers. They realized, look, they got a young fella at quarterback. So why don't we stop the run a little bit more effectively? Don't allow the Packers to lean on the crutch of the run game to support this young man that really doesn't know if he's coming or going right now. And then we can tee off on the young fella because he's back there like a deer in headlights. He didn't know what's going on. We can take advantage of that if we just stop the run. And in the second half, the Saints did a much better job of controlling Aaron Jones and the Packers' rushing attack, which then allowed them to go after the young fella, Brett Hundley. He wanted to run, and he's going to have to do a lot more of that moving forward. He wanted to run around. The Saints said, nah, bro, you're going to keep your ass in this pocket where you belong, and we're going to come and get you. And that's what they ultimately did. Then he got a little antsy, tried to go for it all down the field. They picked him off, and that turnover proved to be the nail in the coffin. The Saints go on the road with a strong second half defensive performance and an all-around good game from their offense after a slow to sluggish start with Drew Brees turning it over a little bit. I thought they woke up and they got it done on the ground. Brees was more effective, and Ted Ginn was outstanding as they win this football game 26-17. You go to the offensive side, or you go to the Green Bay Packers side of things. We start with the offense with Brett Hundley. Yeah, he struggled in this game. There's no doubt about that. I'm not going to beat the young man up. First career start. At home, you would have loved to have seen him be a little bit more effective. You would have loved to have seen him be more accurate. I thought his accuracy and lack thereof, that was the part that really concerned me, because there were open receivers. There were opportunities to make plays. He just missed some guys. He was just inaccurate. And I think a lot of that was jitters and nervousness. You never started before. Here's your big opportunity. You don't want to mess it up. You're pressing. Instead of just going out, relaxing, and playing a game and letting things come to you, I thought he pressed. And you could see a guy that had a little bit of stress on his face. I said, hey, man, I'm going to need you to spit that gum out. You ain't no baller. You can't be chewing gum and playing the quarterback position at the same time. I'm going to need him to spit that gum out and start making better throws and better decisions with the football. If you got to tuck it and go, do it much faster than slow. Don't wait until the defenders come. Now all of a sudden you try and get out of the pocket. It's a mad dash and scramble to get out. And now they shut down the back door exit. And now you try to go out the front and they waiting on you. Like, where you going at, man? And now you forced to make some ill-advised throws. The next thing you know, you're making mistakes. He's going to get better. This bye week couldn't have come in a better time. Maybe it could have. Maybe the bye week could have come after the loss at Minnesota last week. But in any event, now that he's got a start under his belt, he knows what to expect. He knows what a week of preparation looks like, what it feels like. Now, this bye week, he needs to be in the playbook as hard as he can be. He needs to be taking as many mental reps during this off week, and he needs to be studying as much tape for their upcoming, I think they got a Monday night game, if I'm not mistaken, against the Detroit Lions. That is going to be huge. They're going to need to win that game if they're going to try to stay alive in this division and keep things afloat while Aaron Rodgers is on the mend. He's going to have to play much better. This bye week, he needs to take full advantage of these 2 weeks to get ready and prepare for the Detroit Lions to give this Packers team a legitimate shot of staying relevant in the NFC North. If he's going to continue to play the way that he played in this game, and I'm not banking on that, but if he does, this team doesn't stand a chance. And you know who the biggest loser is in all of this? Aaron Jones. If Aaron Rodgers would have stayed healthy, the Aaron and Aaron law firm would have been one of the biggest stories in the league, because this Packers team has lacked that big play threat at the running back position, the guy that could change the game beside Aaron Rodgers. They haven't had that. They thought Eddie Lacy was going to be that. He wasn't that. That's why he's no longer on the football team. Aaron Jones looks the part of a superstar down the road. He looks the part of a big-time #1 high-profile NFL running back. And he showed it again in this game with no quarterback. He went over 100 again. Had a huge run early that gave him a lead. He looks the part. Lit the Cowboys up in Aaron Rodgers' final complete game. He had a good game against the Vikings. Aaron Jones looks legit. And now he's going to be the one that suffers because of the Aaron Rodgers injury, because teams are going to start loading up the box and forcing Brett Hundley to beat him. And if he can't do it, Aaron Jones will go from averaging 100 yards per start to somewhere around 50 or 60, because teams are going to start really loading the box up to stop him moving forward. You get to the Packers defense in this game. I thought they gave the Packer offense a chance, especially in the first half. They held the Saints' high-powered offense to 7 points. And in the second half, while the Packers were still struggling, they still kept this team in the game. They held them to field goals. They blocked an extra point. They did everything they could do to keep the Packers in this game, and they got no help from the offense. And at some point, they finally broke down. They got tired, and they couldn't sustain the level of play they had in the first half when they were able to pick off Breeze twice, when they were able to, I don't want to say stop Mark Ingram, because they never were really able to stop Ingram in this game, but at least slow him down a bit. He started to really exert his will on them in the second half. Breeze was able to be a lot more effective and efficient in the second half. And a lot of that had to do with fatigue. They were just a tired group out there. They gave it their all. They gave it a run. But the Packers offensively, your quarterback only had 87 yards passing in this game. You were horrible on third downs. And that kind of inefficiency led to the Packers defense being on the field over and over and over again. And then you throw in the turnovers that occurred in this game, and next thing you know, that defense ran out of gas, and the Saints were able to take advantage and get to a 2-score lead. And once you knew this game got to a 2-score lead, the Saints were going to win this game, and that's when I finally knew the Packers, they didn't have enough to get it done in this game. Saints get it done 26-17 over the Packers. Packers drop to 4-3 after this loss, and they fall a game behind the Minnesota Vikings for first place in the NFC North Division. Meanwhile, the Saints continue their hot football, winners of 4 straight. They are now in first place in the NFC South Division. And who would have thought a month ago this Saints team would reel off 4 straight to surpass the Falcons and Panthers atop the NFC South Division. The key is now Can they withstand this type of consistency? Can they continue to play this type of football that will give them a chance? The defense has been so improved over this stretch. Can they continue to play this type of football that will give them an opportunity to be in ball games and win ball games, home or on the road? We shall see. But in any event, let's get to any comments that may be out there quickly. If you're out there and you want your comment to be read, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air. I see a lot of comments, but no hashtags. Use the hashtag. I'll just try to pick off a couple of them because I don't think you guys knew any better. But subscribe first and foremost, because I don't recognize a lot of your names. So subscribe if you haven't already done so. And use the hashtag LouieTLive in the future if you want to have your comment read on the air. So I'll pick off a couple of these and we'll move on. Donald Woods Jr. says, what do you think about the Saints defense last couple of games? What about Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara show? How high can you put the Saints offensive line? How shocked are you with Tate? I pretty much talked about all of this stuff, with the exception of Kamara, who I love. You knew, if you've been watching me for any amount of time, you knew how much affinity I had for Alvin Kamara coming out of the draft. I thought he was one of the, and I think he goes by Kamara, so I need to stop calling him Kamara. Alvin Kamara. You know how I felt about him coming out of Tennessee. I wanted my Redskins to draft him. He's phenomenal. Sean Payton, I said he couldn't have landed in a better place because Sean Payton is going to maximize his skill set, getting him passes out of the backfield, handing him the football, getting him outside on the edges with tosses and sweeps and things of that nature. I think it's a great 1-2 punch. Ingram is the hammer. He's the change of pace. I just love that 1-2 punch that they have in their backfield. I told you, Ted Ginn surprised me. I didn't see this coming. The Panthers surely do miss his production in New Orleans. And the defense, I spoke of them as well. They're getting better. You've got a number one corner. It starts there for me with Marshawn Lattimore. His growth and development has allowed that secondary to start to gel. And now because they can hold up in the back end a little bit better, now the front seven is starting to get pressure. Trey Hendrickson is playing better. You're getting, and you already know what you're getting. You already know what you're getting out of Jordan. Cameron Jordan is by far and away your best defensive player, but Marshawn Lattimore is quickly closing that gap. And because you've got a guy now at the defensive line level and at the secondary level that are ballers, now all you're missing is a stud linebacker, and you've got the makings of a standout defense in New Orleans. Booby Man says, do you think Marshawn Lattimore will get Defensive Rookie of the Year? He's on pace to be in the discussion. I think he's playing outstanding for the Saints right now. I talked about him last week and just how good he was against the Lions. He had a pick in that game or a deflection. I talked about how physical he was in the run game against the Lions. He continues to be that. I just think Marshawn Lattimore is really playing well for this team. I'll take a couple more. Ada MP says, shouldn't MM utilize the short, quick passing game out of the spread empty formations like last year when the offense was stagnant but broke out versus Philly? 88 got a catch for 9 yards versus that way. Yeah, I think that's what they have to do. I think they got to utilize what he does well. And if you're Mike McCarthy, look, Brett Hundley is more comfortable in the shotgun, in the spread. That's what he used at UCLA. So you make him comfortable, much like the Texans have done with Deshaun Watson. You spread it out. You allow him to be in a comfortable position. You go read option, and they did that. They did do some of that in this game. They did do read option. He's going to have to start keeping it a little bit more to force the defense to respect him as a runner. But at the end of the day, he's going to have to win as a passer. For as good as he can be with his legs, he's going to have to beat teams with his arm. And I think the short passing game, as you mentioned, that's going to be the key. They're going to have to throw the football underneath. It's going to loosen up the defense a little bit, and maybe you'll be able to hit some shots down the field. But I think you're going to have to use the short passing game to get him comfortable, get him into a rhythm, and then that'll open up some things in the run game as well. Michael Sachs says, will the Saints win the NFC South? Hard to say right now, But I love the way that they're playing. They're getting better as a football team. They're getting better on the defensive football side of football, which has always been the problem for them. I actually think the offense isn't as explosive as it has been in the past, but I love the fact that they're running the football as good as they are. Ingram has been outstanding this year, and the two things that travel, defense and a run game, give you a chance to win anywhere in this league. And the Saints right now are starting to do both of those really well. That's going to bode well for them moving forward. But if they're going to win this division, they're going to have to do like they did a month ago and go on the road and beat teams in this division. They beat Carolina on the road. Going to have to go to Atlanta and win on the road. Going to have to go to Tampa and win on the road. Going to have to continue to win in this division. That's where you're going to win this division. That's where you're going to make your mark, winning games in the division. Whoever has the best divisional mark when it's all said and done, I think is going to win the NFC South division. And if you can go 5-1 in this division, you're going to have a legitimate shot of winning that division. And right now, the Saints are playing the best football of anybody in the NFC South. And so, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Saints get the win. 26-17 over the Packers. What a performance by Ted Ginn Jr., by Ingram, by the Saints defense. Just really pleased with what they're doing on the defensive side of the football as a collective group. And now you're starting to see individuals take over offensively. And they still got Michael Thomas. They still have Willie Snead. Guys that haven't really contributed in a huge way yet, like Snead. They got a lot of weaponry. They got Kamara. They got a number of guys that can hurt you. This Saints team could be dangerous. And if the defense continues to play the way they have, if they continue to run the football the way that they have, this is a team to be reckoned with potentially, not just in the NFC South, but in the NFC Conference overall for the Packers. You knew that this was a distinct possibility with no Aaron Rodgers, that Brett Hundley could show up and stink it up, and he did. Now you got a bye week to kind of figure some things out before a huge divisional matchup on primetime television. You got 2 weeks to prepare this man to look much better than he did in this game. Take full advantage of this bye week and make Brett Hundley a better football player, because he has the ability to be much better than he was in this football game as the Packers dropped to 4-3 with this loss. That's going to do it for me here on this breakdown. I've got a couple more coming before the huge Monday night game. So don't go anywhere. Lockdown coverage coming at you. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie T Network. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. I will see you in a little while. Don't you go anywhere. More lockdown coverage coming your way.